Alright guys, let's get ready for our next lesson here on Onshape. Uh, Again, one of the important points of all of this is looking at the world a little bit differently. In many cases when we're going to make a complex 3D drawing, if we can take a slice, a two-dimensional slice of that complex image, we can then manipulate that 2D drawing into our 3D final shape. So please keep that in mind, and here we go. So I have a picture here, and you guys will get this on Schoology. So this is what our final image will look like. It's kind of this three-pronged piece, has three pieces, rounded edges. For those of you new, we call that a fillet. So you'll see we'll use a tool called the fillet tool to create those rounded edges. So really you can start to actually look at this as a rectangle where we've rounded off the edges. So you're going to see a whole bunch of dimensions here. Keep these in mind as we work, and I will reference them as we go. So I think we should always start, I always start with the largest piece. So down here we see this measurement of 90. We will change our units to millimeters. So we see 90 millimeters, but that's not the whole story, because this object extends beyond that in this direction as well as this direction. So how do we calculate that? So looking right above here, and whenever you see an engineering schematic like this, understand that this is the same exact object, just rotated. So we can assume that it's also in the same orientation. So if we follow this line up, that's exactly where we are here, right? And the same thing holds true this way. So this circle, the center of this circle is perfectly in line, and the circle would be there. So get used to looking at these schematics. So again, coming back, we have 90 to 90. That's the center hole, center of this hole to the center of this hole. We need to figure out the rest of this distance. So what we see are these arcs. Here's an arc, right? A semicircle we're going to refer to as an arc, and here's a circle here. So we see this circle has a diameter. Remember that symbol is the diameter symbol of 25, and this outer arc has a radius of 25. Remember, this center is the center of both this full circle as well as this arc. So with that said, you should be able to quickly deduce that from the center to the outer edge of this arc is 25 millimeters. So this distance then is 90 plus 25 here, so we're up to 115, and we have to add 25 on this side as well. So this entire bottom piece is 140 millimeters. All right, and then we see some other simple measurements. 10. We see this is 40, right? From the top edge to the middle is 40. But again, we look here, we see this is a 25 radius arc. So if it was 40 from the top edge to here, we have to go another 25. So this will be 65 tall when we get there. All right, so this line here is going to be 65 millimeters. All right, so with that basic knowledge, let's get started drawing. So we'll go to Create, Document. We're going to call this EX Exercise 53. So our first line is going to be that bottom line. And again, I'll come back and reference this. We're going to sketch, choose our front plane, choose the line. We're going to start right on this axis here. Make sure it turns blue, right? And you'll also notice the origin turns orange. So I can just pick an arbitrary point and draw a line. Make sure again it's orange. Oh no, and I see right away I'm in inches, so let's escape out and convert our workspace units. So document menu, workspace units, change the inch to millimeter. Alright, so again, document menu, workspace units, millimeter. And we'll come back, sketch our front plane, make sure front plane. Alright, we're going to draw over. Again, I'm just going to click arbitrarily. It says 123. I'm going to fill that in with 140. Don't click, just type and press enter. Now, coming back to my drawing, I have to go up 10. Not a problem. So let's draw again. Make sure it's orange. And I'm just going to exaggerate it just so we can make sure it's orange. You'll also notice to the right and below the cursor, we see the vertical constraint, so we know we're straight up and down. Click, type 10, enter. Now we have to come back here, but allow for some space for our next vertical point. So we're coming back horizontally. Let's figure out how much. So again, from this outer edge, which is basically where we are, back to here, we know that's 25. And then to this inner edge here, it's 40. So we're going to come a total of 25 plus 40, 65. So let's draw that. Just going to click arbitrarily, make sure it's orange, 65. Alright, next thing, we're coming up. So we need to draw this protrusion here. Let's find a good reference point for that. So from the bottom, so the very bottom to this center hole is 50. Again, this arc has a radius of 25. So to go from the center to this outer edge is another 25. So from the very bottom to the top, we're at 75 millimeters. However, remember this thickness was 10. We're starting up here, so we can take 10 off. So we're going up 65 from the point we're at. So we're going to go up 65. Zoom out just a little bit. I want to make sure I'm going horizontally. See the orange line. I want to make that 10. Since it's symmetric, we're going to come back down 65. You can see it snaps to it, but I'll type it. Right, and then we're going to go back this way, 65. And finally, when we drop, it should be straight down 10. If you're there, you know you did it right. If not, you might want to go back and make sure all of your dimensions are good. So again, what's interesting here, we've drawn a flat 2D object. So we want to turn it into our 3D shape, at least the basic shape. So we're going to look here, and we can see it's 50 wide. So from this side, the left side here, to the right side is going to be 50 millimeters. So we can come in and extrude that. Notice I'm still in my sketch. I'm going to extrude it. 50, press enter, give it the green check. And here you can see, again, we have our basic shape. Now there's still some work to be done, but we've arrived at our basic shape, so we can start working on these holes. So we zoom in. From the inside edge of this vertical protrusion, we're going 40 millimeters over and 25 in. So if we look at this side, 45 millimeters over and 25 up. And we're going to do that on both sides. We could do this a quick way and do it one time and then mirror it. So if you're comfortable with Onshape, go ahead and try that. Try and do the process I'm about to show you on one side, and then just mirror it on the other. So you don't even have to do the work, just the mirror tool will take care of it. We will do it in its entirety here. So new sketch, I'm going to click this surface, take my line, and just rotate around so I can clearly see where I'm clicking. So I want to be right in that corner and draw a line over 40 millimeters and straight up again. Make sure it's orange, 25. Alright, I'm going to press escape, get out of that tool. We know there's a circle there, so let's come check that. This circle right here is given to us. Notice this says 2 by diameter of 25. So it's telling us this one and this one, 2 of them are 25. So we'll come in our circle. Notice it is a center point circle, so we start with the center point, which we want right on that marker. And as we previously saw, it's going to be 25 millimeter diameter. Now we just want to extrude it, but instead of adding, notice that one's going to add material. That's not the shape we want. Going to make sure it's solid, remove, and this piece is 10 millimeters thick, so we just have to remove 10 millimeters. Check. Alright, do the same thing. We'll pick sketch, we'll work on this surface, pick our line tool. Again, just out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to rotate it slightly. Start in this corner, come over 40, up 25, press escape, draw my circle, right, use that point as the center point of our circle. This is also going to be 25, a diameter of 25 millimeters, and again, extrude, remove, and 10. Alright, so we can start to see our shape coming along. There's one more hole to add, and then we need to round off these edges. That's again called a fillet. So we'll come in to work on this surface. Take a look at our picture. Again, that hole is a diameter of 25. This one's 50 from the bottom. And again, it's going to have to be, because of this radius, 25 in. So I'm not starting from the bottom, I'm starting from essentially this corner here. So I only have to go up 40. I'm subtracting this 10. So again, just like the other circles, I'm just trying to talk you through the entire process of how do I come up with these numbers. I know that's sometimes a point of confusion for students. Just rotate up just a bit. Delete this line, sorry about that. So again, I'm going to start in this corner, come over 25 and up 40. So I came over 25, up 40. I have my center hole, my center point, and now I'll use that to make my hole. Start my circle right on that point, 25 millimeter. And same exact thing, we're just going to solid, remove 10 millimeters. And we march ever closer to our final shape. So it looks like the last thing to do is round these edges. So this time we're not going to click a sketch. We're going to stay in the 3D modeling options. So you'll notice these are all 3D rather than 2D. And we're going to choose the fillet option here. The edges, we know from our picture, are 25, have a radius of 25 millimeter, all of them. So that makes it kind of easy. I haven't selected anything yet other than the fillet tool, and I'm going to change the radius to 25. Alright, now I have to click this this line each time. Alright, so you'll kind of see it, same thing down here. It's this line here, this line here, this line, this one, and finally this one. And there you have it. Now we can dress it up a little bit. So here we have these square kind of plain edges. We can sorry about that. Let me fillet these again. Alright, change it to 25. Enter. Let me green check this. So I can now come in here and you can fillet any edge you want. And what you'll notice, at least in my humble opinion, when you fillet something that starts out kind of square or rectangular, it tends to dress it up a little bit. So it's a great tool to use to dress up some of these edges. And now you can see it's kind of nice, it's sleek, it's rounded off, so that's always an option. There's obviously some cases where you may not want to round the edges, but there you have it. This was example 53. Thank you.